I think we will get started, team. Firstly, thanks everyone for taking the time out today. I have a big team with me here. We are all super excited to walk you through what we have done in 2024. Just to set the agenda very quickly, on today's session, we'll be walking us through what exactly we have achieved in 2024, along with some idea on what we want to achieve for 2025 as well. And with me, I'm Srinidhi, and I work as a lead solutions consultant for SuperOps. I handle the UK and EMEA market. Have had the pleasure of working with so many MSPs, have understood their use cases, and sort of relay that back to the product team. And with us from the product team's panel, we have Akhilesh, who heads the entire PSA journey for us, and he has some very exciting things to show us, along with Ani, who's sort of helped us get to a really large scale in terms of the RMM as well. So I'm going to start off with walking you through what 2024 has been, and then Ani and Aki will sort of take us over what's planned left for 2024 and how 2025 is going to look like. Doing a quick review of 2024, what we realized at the end of last year was that we really built a product that helped people focus on productivity, be it technicians in terms of how quickly they can navigate through our products, in terms of MSP owners in taking better decision in terms of improving the productivity, and even for admins, because it's a unified tool that's going to give all of this data in one single platform. But what we also noticed when we worked with our existing customers is that they're scaling up really quickly. And we realized we need to be scaling with them and ensure that profitability and growth is going to be the focus going forward, right? So we wanted to ensure that we build a tool that is first global to all our customers, that focused on profitability, scalability, and productivity. And that's why we reviewed our patch deployments, and we've reached real new heights with the number of remote sessions that we've been able to do and the patch deployments. You can see some of the good things that our customers have said in terms of how we have sort of performed at that front. And we've also won a lot of, performance-related awards, and even in terms of, support, we've sort of excelled on all these fronts, right? But we also realized that a big part of this, and in understanding how MSP scale, was the community section itself. So we doubled down on our community this year. We have close to 4,000 members, a lot of interactions, a lot of on-site events to understand what's happening in the ground. What are people thinking? What do MSP owners want? What are the challenges that admins face in the end of the day? And how do we give back to the community with all the learnings that we have? And on that front, team, once you log into the product, you will quickly see a release notes section. It's going to look something like this on the top right corner. I'd recommend all of you to click on the join button because that helps you not just learn from each other, but also share your inputs, which is largely looked at by our product teams to see how we can scale and grow from there. All right. So let's talk about how we have sort of brought the unified experience to make it a unified productivity tool where multiple dysfunctional legacy systems probably handled it really well, but we've sort of brought it together as a unified platform. But for this year, we wanted to ensure that, hey, while we are focusing on efficiency, productivity, and time save, can we also scale and focus on profitability and reduce costs for businesses, right? And we realized very quickly that if we have to do this, we have to tie the internal business processes with the customer service that you're delivering so that these are in synergy with each other. And that's the product direction that we sort of took when we started building our PSA and RMM framework last year, planning for this year. So what does that mean? We realized that the service delivery engine, where you're onboarding a lot of customers, you're optimizing for proactive issues that are coming up and ensuring that you're on top of it, or streamlining in terms of support and remote and troubleshooting, because this leads to your revenue expansion, should also help you in the end of the day plan, track, analyze, and optimize. And in each of these sections, if you look at the planning activity, we've introduced a lot of elements to help you be proactive on that front and delegate work across your team, better in terms of how you handle your work management, your client engagement, and a lot on the network monitoring side in terms of troubleshooting. So we've brought these two elements, and I'm not sure if all of you can see this curve here. The AI really plays a big role in how we have sort of thought about it, because we believe in this journey, a large part of it can be automated through AI, and we're going to talk a lot more about this on today's webinar. All right. So with this in mind, we had a very clear goal. So now it's about splitting it across the main personas, right? So be it a delivery manager, an IT manager, a service desk technician, an MSP admin, or an owner, we've sort of built a lot of tools that will help them collaborate easily for quick resolutions or handle complex issues and ecosystems that might come up, or build a lot of operations on scale and set up contracts and sort of find out where the bottleneck and build the business up for success, right? So these are the three focus areas, and we'll go deeper into the product now to see how this helps. And I'm going to start with the technician journey, where I'm going to just quickly walk you through what that journey looks like as a technician. All right, so first and foremost, as soon as the technician logs in, they're going to have a working dashboard, right? And we've spent a lot of time to ensure that we worked with MSP community members to understand, hey, what are the top things that a technician does? And can we bring those widgets by default into the platform so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel when you come in? So as soon as you log in, you're going to have a lot of these widget libraries built in across your PSA and RMM related data. And it's easy for you to just drag and drop this experience right off into the platform. So as a technician, I'm probably worried about the top issues that I'm getting, my tasks for the day, some alerts that are coming in, and so on. But what we also realize is a technician does a lot more things outside of the PSA and RMM. And one of the biggest changes we did this year is integrate with your Outlook calendar to bring in all the events that they have. And this is a two-way sync. So right off the bat, before I start my day, I know what's up by seeing my working dashboard, but I can also go deeper into my calendar to see, hey, how's my day fixed? And one thing you'd notice is it says zero overdue, which is a good indication because I have no overdue tickets as well. So maybe if I did, I can prioritize those specifically before I go in deeper. But as a technician, I know exactly what I'm thinking of in terms of getting started with my day. So this looks good. Now, a lot of times technicians probably do 3 or 4 actions that are very common. It could be creating a new ticket out of a phone call or creating a script and so on. And that's why we created something called shortcuts. And this is a real, game changer for most technicians, because navigating through a platform, as much as we've made the UI really easy and simple, navigating through probably 20 different modules is going to be hard. So I usually work with a lot of tickets and scripts. So I've created these two as shortcuts. So what this means for me is if someone gives me a phone call, I can just quickly click on the shortcut and I can just create a ticket on the fly. And that makes the process a lot more easier for me. And when they're going through the tickets for their day, while the ticket list view or the way you usually look at tickets here helps, I have a good understanding of what exactly is happening in terms of my tickets here. I can also quickly move to something called a Kanban view. So maybe I want to know if there are certain tickets that are of higher priorities for me. So I can just shift to that view to see how my tickets are lined up. I can potentially see if I can push tickets off to someone else based on their availability as well. But what we also realize is sometimes you need to dig deeper into the ticket to understand a quick idea of what's happening. This also helps service managers sometimes because they want to see quickly, navigate through tickets to see what the updates are. But this becomes a very easy way for technicians to understand the latest update and move on from one ticket to another without having to probably do multiple clicks at any point in time. So this summarizes how they sort of plan their day, right? But let's assume they are faced with a problem, and this could be an L1 technician or an L2 technician or a senior level manager that comes in. Now, in this case, there seems to be a slow laptop. And usually, as companies, we know how to handle it. We have standard operating procedures that are built throughout the platform to sort of handle this. And that's why runbooks are built, where I quickly know that, hey, the laptop is slow, and there are a few tasks that I could potentially work on top of this. So something like, hey, check your CPU and memory, and I can go deeper into this to exactly see what the issue is. And I can track time here specifically if I'd want, maybe because multiple people are working on a ticket. And maybe it's a router related issue, a security related issue. But as an L1 technician, I'm probably just equipped to go deeper into the ticket to see what exactly is happening in terms of the assets. So I go a bit more deeper, and I know exactly what are all the assets that are associated to this specific person, Andy, who's reached out to me, right? So what I can do now is just quickly pop out of this screen and go deeper into analyzing the asset. So and here's where the unification of the platform really comes in. And instead of taking down notes elsewhere, you'd notice that I have my reply right here. I can maximize it, minimize it at any point in time, which makes my life a lot more easier. So I see that, CPU is good. That can't be the issue. Memory seems a bit high. I have information on antivirus, your net traffic, my firewall details, and any other custom information that we want to bring in can be here. I know who exactly is logged in. I have recent activities as well to see if potentially there are any patches that are running at any point in time. Maybe I want to go a bit more deeper. So I go into the details page to see if any processes are taking up too much of my space. So, okay, this looks a bit odd. I can write this down saying too much space occupied. And I'm probably writing down gibberish here, but we'll talk about how AI is going to help on this front. Can go deeper into my event log, which potentially tells me if there are errors that have popped up which could cause the slowness. And I can search for specific event IDs as well. How is my network adapters? Is my Ethernet okay? What does that look like? Maybe I want to go a bit more deeper to see if there are any processes that are causing the issue. Maybe there's a file that's really big, so I can go deeper into the file section. If I want to make some edits on the registry editor, that's possible as well. If I want to go deeper into certain software, I can go deeper into that as well. Maybe I want to do a quick terminal command as a system or as a logged in user. Same with a PowerShell user. I can run a script potentially to clear DNS cache just off the bat because we have a very big script community in place that sort of enables this for me. I can also, reboot the device and do a lot of activities right off the bat. And you'd notice that we've done probably 20 to 30 different activities. And at any point in time, I can keep a track of all of this. I've done my initial troubleshooting, and I'm going to say everything looks okay so far. And here's where, I probably have to give a first level of summary to the customer. I can use AI to largely depend on the communication because we wanted to sort of enable technicians to focus on what they do best, which is troubleshooting and getting to the root of the problem without having to focus too much on, hey, am I communicating this the right way? So as business owners, you can have certain prompts in place, which makes it easy for technicians to put all of this together and just sort of send this information over and send it to customers, right? Maybe at this point in time, the technician also realizes, oh, potentially this is a VPN related issue. So we also launched chat. So right from this section, you'd be able to quickly chat with customers. And I'm going to show you quickly what that looks like, right? So this is associated within a ticket. And I can say, hey, I'm going to initiate a chat. And again, we are big on enabling communication. So you can have a few templates set up for your team. The team can just sort of use these templates to do a first level of communication. And this will prompt the user to say, hey, I just want to quickly chat with you because you said your laptop is slow. Can I get some VPN related data coming in? The customer can give the permission to do it. And now you can have a back and forth conversation with the customer. And in case you want to do quick things like remote into the system right from the chat itself, or take a screenshot, or do multiple other activities, all of that again is possible right off the bat itself. And maybe you have to refer to the IT documentation as well, because like I said, we are a unified platform. All data is going to be within the platform itself. You can use the chat widget throughout your RMM experience as well to gather certain information about the asset. If that's necessary, you can send it over to the client and get more information on it. And when you do it, the biggest part about all of this is logging the work, which is so annoying for technicians. But this entire journey is logged for you, and you can just add this as a work log in the end of the day. And that's also going to reflect within the ticket. Now, the L1 technician has done whatever he can. He probably passes the mic to the L2. So I'm going to loop in the L2 technician here and say, okay, I've done a lot. I'm just going to summarize what's happened. Again, I use AI here, which has the complete context of what I've done. And it can just insert the entire response onto the ticket, and then the L2 technician comes in. Now, the L2 technician potentially is more of an expert when it comes to network monitoring devices, right? So that's why we decided, hey, apart from workstations and servers, we also want SuperOps to be a one single tool for bringing in all of your network monitoring devices. So when the L2 technician comes in, he can, of course, use the AI to summarize the ticket to know what's happened without having to go through the entire thing. He also sees that, hey, there are a few tasks in the runbook that I've got to do. He potentially goes deeper into the switch or the router, where we are able to just discover all of this right off the bat. First off, he can do a quick ICMP ping to understand, hey, what's happening in terms of the packet loss and RTT? Is this potentially causing a lot of issues? So you can go deeper into that to see what's happening. Availability seems to be off around a certain time. Maybe that was the time when the laptop was slow as well. CPU looks okay, memory looks okay, but there are a lot of ports that are out, right? So again, you can go deeper into these details. You can also bring in your own custom OIDs and check this data. For response time specifically, I'm going to see the last 12 hours to see if there's been any drop. I can get that detail in. Maybe there is some documentation that I have to see for this specific router to try and restart it. Maybe I can do a quick SSH terminal onto the router to see what exactly I need to do to, sort of resolve the issue. Maybe this is a recurring issue, so I can have a look at any tickets that have come in recently for this or any alerts. So even if your team has missed out on communicating with each other on mass issues, at least you have the context right off the bat within the ticket itself. So with all this context again, the L2 team now knows what exactly they need to resolve the issue, and maybe they need to procure a new router. So again, the AI here can really help, right? So I can just say, hey, compose a quick email for me to a third party vendor. And now we are starting a parallel conversation without the customer in the thread. But all of this is sort of tracked within the ticket itself, right? And I'm able to sort of send this across to the team at any point in time. And all of this is logged right within the ticket. And maybe I need to schedule an on-site visit to complete the installation. So I can do a quick, meeting here to say on-site installation and sort of set up the entire system for the customer and close the ticket and move on, right? But as a technician, obviously this is not the only task I have. A big part of my day is also to ensure that, hey, how healthy are my assets? So in terms of my alerts, I can go ahead and check, hey, are there any specific alerts that I need to look into? There are some blue screen alerts that are coming in, patches that need my attention. So maybe there are some specific patches that I need to deploy. So again, I can take quick actions from here. And through all of this team, what you notice is that the time is just being tracked anywhere, right? So I can do asset activity check. And I don't have to sit out of a ticket or a project to do this. I'm just doing it right off the bat. Maybe I have to do some work on Bitdefender or other AV providers that you have, because you have a lot of work that you're doing on other platforms. I can also track time on any Chrome widget, which is really cool because in the end of the day, your work goes in as easy as possible with very little sort of hindrance in getting to it, right? We also have a mobile app where in case you do on-site visits, you can track there. Now, what this means for the technician is in the end of the day, they've done a lot of ticket related work, project related work, asset related work, and they want to ensure that their time is being logged correctly, right? So they can go deeper into their work log, and go deeper and be like, hey, on Tuesday, maybe I did a bit more work than I thought. So I can go deeper into this specific section and try and understand, okay, let me look at my calendar on Tuesday. And in case there is any work or events that I've scheduled with my customers, but I've not logged time, the system will quickly tell me so that I'm not missing out on anything at any point in time. And I can just quickly log saying customer visit and ensure that my work in the end of the day is logged. And this helps business owners collect data right off the bat very easily. So this is the summary of what a technician goes through, right? And in the end of the day, the productivity is obviously a focus, but what he or she needs to do should be of absolute scale. And we've tried to do that by bringing a unified platform where a lot of assets are now coming in, a lot more details on how you can go deeper into a router or a switch, and how you can use AI to sort of get there in the end of the day. Now, let's go deeper into what an admin potentially does, because for an admin now, the focus becomes, can I onboard all the assets easily? Can I onboard more clients? Can I also optimize the workflows enough for me to understand where exactly the bottlenecks are? And also look at recurring issues to try and see, can we preempt it and can we be proactive about it, right? So as a technician now, again, I can have a working dashboard that looks very different, but in terms of onboarding clients, one of the biggest change we've done is ensuring that our RMM is really strong when it comes to not just the workstations and servers, but also the network monitoring devices, right? This is the biggest change that we have done this year, where you can do a quick network scan, discover networks in case if it's a specific IP as well, you'd be able to bring all the assets right off the bat and you'd be able to scan those devices in. And when these devices are scanned in, one of the biggest changes we did is build a really large library of OIDs so that you as MSP admins don't have to manually type in the OIDs or rely on ChatGPT OID versions of it, right? So this sort of gives you the framework to ensure that this sort of information is brought in right within the platform, and you'd be able to check it out. And in fact, this is a feature we launched recently. I'd recommend all of you to sign up for a demo. We can enable this for you. You can see in real time how these assets are brought in into the platform and how quickly they're pushed into monitoring as well. Apart from network devices, we also realized, hey, there could be a lot of other such devices, because we launched close to 17 devices this year, right? Like audio, barcode, domain controller, Ethernet, firewall. So we've tried to cover as much as possible, but in case you want to create your own custom monitors and custom devices, that's possible. In a lot of cases, you just want to keep a track of devices that you're not really monitoring, just for inventory purposes. So like a docking station, an LED monitor, a mouse, and things like that. So you can also create all of these right off the bat, right? And we doubled down on Linux this year, where we realized ARM architecture seems to be a second popular among our customers. So we also launched that to ensure that our Linux monitoring becomes really, really strong on that front. So in terms of onboarding now, you can expand this to more clients and tell them, hey, there are so many more devices we're going to support for you, which helps you in acquisition as well. But what about maintenance and optimization of it? And that's when we realized, hey, we want to now double down on our network monitoring and like advanced, on the network monitoring front. So we launched the advanced framework, which is something that will help you sort of ensure that you can go deeper into every single asset class and ensure that you can create child policies that inherits data from your root policies at any point in time. So now there are no more conflicts between each policy set. You can be as dynamic as possible. You can go deeper, but ensure that you have visibility into what one single asset does at any point in time. When we go deeper into the Windows workstation, just as an example, a big part of admin's job is also to take care of false alerts, right? What we realized very soon was 30 to 40% of a technician's time is spent in false alerts because you create benchmark-based alerts in the end of the day. So we launched intelligent alerting specifically on the CPU, memory, and disk, which is going to correctly and accurately predict what exactly is the benchmark, which is really good for servers specifically. And it lets you create an alert or send an email based on this. And we're going to double down a lot more in our offering, where Ani is going to talk a bit more on that. In terms of our patch management, to make it a bit more easy for you, we've ensured that you can reject your patch KBs at any point in time. You can also defer your entire testing period. So when you get feedback on Patch Tuesdays, you can ensure that you deploy it automatically on your test devices, but not really on your customer devices, by ensuring that you defer by 8 or 9 days. You can ensure that you take complete control instead of Windows also auto updating, which causes conflict of interest in the end of the day. You have complete control of it. Even in terms of the reboot options, you can ensure that your customers come first. So you can customize the reboot message, send out what time you want to send the reboot, and so on. And as a part of the onboarding process, you can also ensure that the patches are installed right away. Even in terms of third-party software patching, we double down a bit more further. We work with Chocolatey. We've always worked with Chocolatey, but we've also very soon realized that Wingit seems to offer a lot more apps for workstations specifically. So we also started working with Wingit to give you a really large library that you can choose from, because of which you can also manage any software that's on your device. Of course, there's a list of software that you can list, but if you just want to manage what's on the device, you'd be able to do it, and you don't have to worry about installation and updating. The system will identify and just take care of updation at any point in time. And to again ensure that the onboarding process is smooth, you can install these software right away. And scheduled actions are built in, where you can ensure that recurring maintenance activities which your team do can be completely automated through our script, because we have a very rich script library. You'd be able to sort of just make use of this at any point in time. You can check the community and get all of this data at any point in time. And if there are any specific features that you're looking for, or that you think, hey, this is something that's really cool, put it on the chat window here, and we'd be happy with our product managers to help you out on those questions further as well. You'd see the poll question, yeah, and you can sort of answer those questions right off the bat. Now, as a part of the MSP admin, one big area where we want to focus on is to ensure that their maintenance activities, which usually happen on a Friday or a Sunday, is as smooth as possible. So we also brought in maintenance mode, which ensures that your alerts, notification, patches, and script is completely paused at certain points in time, so that you have complete control over how you're sort of handling this. And because of our advanced policy framework, you can just run maintenance windows on a few servers, few workstations, few clients, just for your gold customers, just for your platinum customers. And it gives you the depth in terms of controlling all of it while having the visibility on what exactly is happening at all of these fronts. On the antivirus front, to ensure that your customers are able to just cater to any kind of protection they want, we extended our portfolio to work with MCSOT, ESET, ThreatDown, and a few more providers, where I'll show you what kind of integrations we have. And we have a lot more lined up for data backup as well, where Ani is going to walk us through that. In terms of Splashtop, given that it's the most used remoting tool out there, we also went deeper into its advanced configurations to ensure that your connection duration is set. You have advanced settings to ensure that certain passwords are required, how the sound experience is, how the security and lock experience is. Again, as an admin, ensuring that you have complete control over all of these points in play. Now, with this in place, team, admins can also have a clean dashboard where all this data comes in. We'll go deeper into reports as well, but anything and everything that they want to see will be right here on the left, where they can go deeper into this picture at any point in time. But coming now to repetitive issues, a big area where admins also spend time is, hey, where exactly is my team spending time on? And that's why a big part of our timesheet is not just for technicians, but also for our admins, because they'll understand what exactly is happening on the flow. I see that some of them are doing some work, some of them are stuck on certain issues, which just seems a bit too long. So, for example, disk space issue, someone spending 2 hours on, that just seems a bit excessive, right? So, here's where the admin can go and use the AI here to get a quick summary of the work log to see what kind of work have they done. So that gives you a quick insight of who's worked on it, what exactly has gone in. Maybe I want to know a quick summary of what exactly is happening. And now maybe I see a pattern of recurring issues coming in, right? 2 or 3 people have actually reported on a disk space issue coming in. So now I can go deeper to see, hey, where is my team really spending time on? So I can look at the last 6 months data to say, hey, these are my top clients, and I've spent about 116 days on 168 tickets. But let's go deeper to understand who's causing issues for me. And here's where we do a benchmark. We get baseline metrics based on your customer data, where we know what the average response time and resolution time and time spent is. And clearly, Winterfall seems to be an anomaly here. So I can go a bit more deeper. So I go deeper into Winterfall and see, hey, are there specific types of tickets which need my attention? And onboarding seems to be falling on this front, right? So I can go deeper into onboarding. And now instead of going through 52 tickets as an admin, I can just do a quick summary, and that summary is going to tell me, hey, just give me some time, let me go through it and come up with a few solutions on what exactly I need to do. And here's where the AI really sort of takes away a lot of pain that the admins go through in the end of the day. Because now, based on this, I can go deeper into IT documentation, and create a quick doc on how to potentially handle, disk related issues. So I have something for guides for technicians. And this also neatly ties into our ticketing, which Aki will talk about very shortly. But here, based on my insights, I can create a quick documentation for my IT team, for my technicians, so that they can make use of this at any point in time. So with this team, what we have sort of enabled admins do is visibility, and control over what's happening, so that their onboarding process is better, because we have launched so many asset classes that helps them do it along with network monitoring. To ensure that this is optimized for scale, we revamped our policy framework so that you can have root policies in place, but easily inherit that data to child policies, but also give that flexibility to be specific on child policies, but without having the issue of one asset potentially conflicting with multiple situations, right? So you have complete visibility into what's happening. And you also can go deeper into understanding your resource utilization to know, hey, are there any bottlenecks? Can I create some knowledge base for technicians to take things forward on these fronts? And, Ani and Aki have a lot more lined up for Q4 end and Q5, and we'll go deeper into that. All right. So now with this in place, let's see what MSP owners can do, because with the first two journeys, we have ensured that your technicians are not just productive, but they can also scale at any point in time. Admins have control and visibility into all the workflows that's happening in the system. But all of this, in the end of the day, is governed by the contract that you set with customers, right? And here's where we double down a bit further. Here, you can bring in license-based contracts and one-time contracts as well. But let's go deeper into one such contract here. Now, when I set up a contract, because we are a unified tool, sometimes you're charging based on your asset fee. And instead of this being a manual calculation, we can dig deeper into the RMM to understand, hey, can you tell me, the number of charges for an SNMP device versus an ICMP, versus, a Mac, Windows device, and so on. And the system will take care of automatically calculating these values for you. In terms of subscription, again, this is completely dynamic. It could be once in 2 months, it could be a quarterly based pricing, and you have the complete flexibility to be very specific for a few customers, for a few niche customers that you're trying to onboard. Similarly, in terms of your billing cycle, you can get the billing done upfront. It can be a month later. You can choose the arrear option, or you can also choose the advanced option. So with this changes in the contract framework team, we've ensured that you cater to all kinds of customers, and you have a better control over how your entire service engine functions in the end of the day. And now this neatly flows into our billing queue, and any ad hoc work that I do will also be available on Invoice Audit for me to review in the end of the day. And I can make further modifications here. Here's where your accounting team can literally sit out of your PSA tool, understand what exactly is happening, make modifications right within this system. And we also, once the invoice is generated, we also work with Xero and QuickBooks to push the invoice over. And once it's paid, we just sort of update the invoice here as well. So from an MSP owner standpoint, we have taken the pain away of the entire billing journey, because we've automated most of it, especially the fact that it talks to your RMM and gets the data through, giving you the flexibility in terms of your billing cycle and so on. With this in page, they can take a little more informed decision in terms of where their business is heading. So all the reports that you see here is something that's customer shareable. And this can be shared on an hourly, daily, weekly, monthly basis at any point in time to multiple customers. And to make it easy, we again worked with MSP community to build 8 dashboards that we think most MSPs should be using and should be keeping a track of. So in case you want to share it with the larger team, you can just share it as a TV, and this is just going to reflect here on top, and you'll have a quick view of what's happening. Now, you don't need extra license to sort of log into the tool and see this. Now, you can go deeper into the technician activity report as an MSP owner and say, hey, I've worked on so many tickets. This seems to be the revenue I've gotten. This seems to be where my technicians sort of utilize their time in. And I can go deeper into specific client and say, hey, is this customer profitable for me? And Aki will be talking a bit more on more reports we're launching, but this really doubles down on where exactly I need to focus so that when it comes to renewal and expansion, I know which set of customers I need to go after, what kind of services do I need to offer for them, because I have all the data in terms of their tickets and what work that's gone in right within one platform. Now, to justify the ROI from a RMM standpoint, our asset health summary report, our remote session summary report, and a bunch of reports that we have released, especially, gives them enough context from a security and compliance perspective, but also from a hey, this is the ROI of a client. So this can also be a part of your acquisition process where you tell your customers, hey, these are 8 metrics based on which we gauge how healthy the asset is, and I'm going to run a quick scan of all your assets and I'm going to give you a summary score. And now this PDF builder quickly tells you, hey, customer, the overall score is X. This is the divide across workstations and servers. And these are the specific areas in which the devices have failed and passed, right? So this can not just be used as an assessment report. This can be a quarterly business review where you can go deeper, sit with the IT managers and say, hey, in this location, this is where the assets have failed and passed, right? So this combined with the executive summary report, again, this takes your ticket data as well into consideration so that when business owners, strike up a conversation with new clients in community meetings, they can say, hey, you know what? These are the 8 areas in which we want to improve your business. One will be asset related, one will be ticket related, and overall, I'll be able to tell you where exactly your bottleneck is. It becomes a very powerful conversation to have. From a revenue standpoint, we also give you the billing summary report and more information on the invoice as such. So you can go deeper to say, hey, this is what my invoice is, because a large part of profitability, which Aki and Ani will be talking about very soon, it's going to sort of help you understand why these reports come in the end of the day. Now, with that, we have a good understanding of how MSP owners can now first drive their entire contracts and hence their entire serviceability with the contracts module that we saw, and how there are a lot of reports that's pre-built in, not just to justify the ROI of the entire platform, but also to go deeper into see where exactly am I spending time, which technician or rather which client is not profitable for me, and also help your accounting team take this data at any point in time. So with that, I'm going to pass the mic to Ani and Aki because there is still a large part of this journey that we want to sort of cater to, and they're going to walk us through how they're going to complete this profitability journey.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Srinidhi, for that awesome session on what we've built so far, and we're pretty excited for the roadmap that's going ahead. Let me just bring up that particular. So looking back, pretty exciting journey for the year that we just passed. And from the RMM side, we'll first talk about the RMM module and all the features that we had released so far. Network monitoring was a big focus. Your proactive management with your advanced policy was a huge focus. And looking at 2025 from an RMM perspective, we are going to double down on whatever levers that we have already looked at. So for the RMM, it's going to be basically your control, your visibility, and your reliability, right? And reliability being the keyword there, how we are going to actually double down on all our agent actions, all the automations that are running your patches, your software, and all of that. So what we have in store for the whole year packed, and especially in Q1, this is what you'll be able to see coming up in Q1, right? It starts off with a few initiatives that we have started and which we will actually wrap up in Q1. As you folks have already gathered, network monitoring is actually a key investment for all of our MSPs. And here we are actually doubling down on that entire journey of discovery monitoring and troubleshooting. So with Discovery recently launched, again, it's an early access feature. Please reach out to our support folks and we'll be happy to enable it for that. So with Discovery, you're actually doing a one-click onboarding where you're actually scanning all the assets and actually grabbing all your endpoints, your servers, your workstations, all your network devices, and so on. And from there, you can start monitoring your network devices and also installing your agents on your workstations and servers. So that's your discovery. And once you start monitoring them, you have, we've built this template library that Srinidhi also mentioned for these network devices, right? So we have close to 25 network asset classes from where you can actually monitor all these devices. And for each of these devices, we have a library, OID library at the back end. Say, for example, just for printers, we have close to 2,000 of the global top printers, your routers, your switches, and firewall. We have thousands of templates, your OID maps, and basically it's your entire MIBs that we have actually ingested into a library to intelligently start monitoring them. And post monitoring comes your troubleshooting if in case you have any hiccups, right? And that's where we already have the SSH uh, 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 methodology to actually remote into your network devices. We're also doubling down on troubleshooting with HTTPS being the other one, right? A lot of our MSPs or technicians like to just go to the web page and actually start making changes on the network device, setting the configs, backing them up, and then making changes, troubleshooting. So HTTPS is a protocol that we are currently working on, and something that we are pretty excited to be releasing come Q1 along with topology map. So just to give you a sneak peek of the topology map, if I can just grab a second to jump out and show that. So on the topology map, what we're looking at is giving you the entire network visibility, right? Your workstations, your servers, all your network devices. So I'm just starting my journey on a device page here. So on the device page, if you look at it, this particular workstation is part of the overall subnet where this is connected to a switch, that switch in turn to another switch, and firewall and internet. This visibility is really powerful for technicians, for you folks to actually gain a visibility into, okay, how is this, figuring out in the larger scheme of the subnet with respect to the network. So from here, you could actually deep dive on any of these metrics, right? Say, for example, here what you see is this is the device. It is online, it is connected to a switch which is also online, but the switch has 3 alerts, and you want to have a look at the actual connection health, right? What is the speed between these two, what are the LAN ports, what is the IP of the switch, which port is it connected to. So all of that with respect to this one particular asset, and from there on you could just trace the root back, as we call it, trace routing back to the root cause of the issue. Say you've come up an issue has been reported at an asset level, you want to find out whether this issue is just with the asset, or is it something that is across the network or one part of the network. You want to isolate the issue, then find the root cause and then fix it. If that's the root, then topology map is going to be a really key asset for you folks to do that, right? So from here you start tracing the root back into the network devices, and if that is done and you reach the larger one, and this is how the overall topology map's going to look like, right? This is the full blown out view where you get a full view of the entire subnet right from the internet, coming into the firewall. Behind the firewall sits all your switches, and from there on you go on, and each of these controls, actually you can go see the details, the IP addresses, the subnet, the MAC address, what are all the connections, what are the other pieces to this. You can blow up, you can zoom in, zoom out, and all of that at a click of a button, where on the right you see, for example, this particular switch is the current scope of investigation. You see the RTD, the ping RTD on that particular switch. You can actually do a ping from right here from the assets and find out what is the RTD time, what is the packet loss, what is historical ping range, and from there on you can start troubleshooting to resolve that actual issue. And we've put a lot of thought into how intuitive the topology map should be. So if there are two connections for the same two devices, how are we going to show that? How are we going to help you troubleshoot each of them? What are the connections? So a lot of details there going into topology maps, and I just wanted to show you a quick glimpse of what we have there. So having shown that, and just want to keep this moving back to the slide. So those are some key enhancements on the network monitoring side, but then we got lots tons of enhancements on the RMM side as well. And software management, for example, is a key initiative for us come 2025. We've already had a good amount of success on the Windows side with your Winget and Chocolatey being the two repositories. But then here again, we understand the public repository angle that MSPs are talking about. So what we wanted to do was provide a multi-repository approach where you choose which repository you want to use for managing your third-party software, your third-party applications. It's either Chocolatey or Winget or your own custom repository. So here we'll give you a space, a folder where you can upload your applications, the packages, the URLs, etc., which you can start using in your software policies. This is going to be live for both the Windows and the Mac devices. And same Mac, we are also looking at natively providing software management. So here we are discussing currently how we can provide Mac software management. Homebrew is one of the routes that we are currently evaluating, and we're confident we're going to provide that natively. So you will have a multi-repository approach. In Windows, you will have, say, Chocolatey, Winget, and your own custom repository. On the Mac, once we have worked on this and released this, you will have either Homebrew or the custom repository to work on. And intuitively, you'll be able to, install, patch, and uninstall. All of these outcomes are going to be possible for the software side of things. Apart from this, there are a lot more RMM enhancements, right? Your time series support for endpoints, your CPU, your disk, and your memory. We are focusing on onboarding as a key outcome, where we're looking at isolating your software, your patches, and your script that you use during onboarding, giving that as a separate policy in the policy set. We're also looking at the script dashboard. So a key focus area for us come 2025 is going to be automation and visibility on these automations. So script dashboard is something that we are working heavily on. And also the Windows maintenance windows, that's something that we released last week. It's already available for all of our users. So go test it out, guys, and let us know what you think. So come Q1, these are the 5 or 6 top ones, along with the AI based innovation. As Srinidhi called out, how throughout the product our Monica AI has been adding value that's going to carry out well into the RMM side as well. And RMM has been a key focus on the AI side for us, say right from our intelligent alerting, which was the very first AI feature 3 years back. So from then on, we've been innovating on the RMM side. The script gen again is going to be a key outcome, where our technicians, our users, can actually generate your PowerShell BAT and Bash scripts using AI. It's going to be a very intuitive UX where you just give it prompts and you can actually build these solutions part by part. If it's like a real simple script, you just give it one prompt, you get the output. But then if it's going to be a complex script where you want multiple actions to take place, you could actually just prompt one after the other and actually keep building that solution for that entire script. And this is where we see a lot of value getting added. It's not just a one-way conversation. You can actually build that out. And throughout the last 6 months, integrations, the ecosystem has been a key focus area for us, where we have doubled down a lot of investments, and you will see that continuing over next year as well, right? So the last 6 months we've shipped out around 6 logos, and that's going to keep continuing. IT Glue is actually a key integration for us in Q1. That is something you can expect come early Jan. Accent, Huntress, the other logos that we are actually working on building a partnership with. So on the cybersecurity side, antivirus, your backups, your IT docs, all of these are what we want to bring into the ecosystem. And our integrations are not just surface level integrations, right? Here we're going to enable key outcomes such as auto download of the agent, syncing the data, for example the AV status from the AV back into our asset in SuperOps, and giving actions such as a scan or a backup. And even we'll try to even push out the usage from these tools APIs back into your PSA, into your invoices. So these are the key outcomes that we're going to go after for each of these integrations. Having said that, Q1, while it's really excited, we have a lot of clarity on what we're going to look at. I just want to give you an overall roadmap for 2025, a larger picture what the RMM team is going to work on, right? And it starts with your workflow automation and operational depth. Here we're going to double down on all the automations, right? Your script management, your dynamic automation workflows, your patching capabilities, the depth in patching, what all additional depth are we going to provide. So that's going to be a key focus area for us, along with the software management piece that I just talked about in Q1. Client experience and proactive reporting, that's an area where we wanted to, there are certain touch points for client experience, say your agent system tray icon, your client portal, and your reboot prompts, and your other touch points. So we are going to innovate around all of these touch points to add more depth, more customizability, so that you as an MSP can actually enhance that client experience and give that actual reporting and all that visibility that you wish to pass on to prove that value that you're doing for the clients. And proactive reporting, again, reporting as a module, we have a lot of depth in it, and we're looking to add a lot more polish. The PDF builder is one key thing that we are going after come 2025. So a lot of depth in reporting is also something that's on the cards, along with the continued focus on integrations. The IT documentation, while it's been a module where we have patched it together with the PSA and the RMM, there's a lot more depth that we're going to do in IT documentation with the full-blown IT doc focus come next year. So these are the 5 focus areas, and along with that, as you always know, we keep shipping your quick wins, your enhancements that a separate team is going to work on. These are going to be real quick turnarounds. So at a high level, in the limited time, all that we could cover on the RMM side, folks, but there's a lot of content, there's a lot of collateral that my colleagues here can share if any of you want any additional information on any of these initiatives, right? So as PMs, we always look forward to collaborating with you folks and working out these solutions, building in unison with you folks, taking your feedback in. So that's been really valuable for us, and we continue to do that as we go along. So in the limited time, I pass the mic on to my colleague Akhilesh, who can walk us through the PSA side of things. Akhilesh, over to you.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, Ani, and awesome. I'm super excited to share what we have in store from the PSA side of things as well. But before we get started, I think we have a quick a survey. While we have been scaling the platform and you have been seeing all the exciting updates, and I have more to share as well, with the goal of us driving, let's say, business growth for every other MSP out there. We definitely want to do that. And keeping that in mind, we have a quick survey where we just want to know what is that one thing, if this tool gave you, would be, let's say, an accelerator for your business. And that'll be great to know as well. So maybe I'll just take a minute so that you can go ahead and answer this particular survey that should be on your screens right about now. Perfect. I think while you're all answering that, a couple of updates from the PSA side of things, where Srinidhi would have mentioned the whole vision of what we started to do with the tool in itself. And what we wanted to do starting 2025 is SuperOps being the productivity tool of choice, where you are able to grow with a very healthy bottom line and save a lot of hours while you are managing your growth. But also, growing is not going to be easy when you're not having the enough data or the accurate data to take great decisions. So how can you go ahead and make great decisions for growth is what we will be doing with our contract management 2.0. We are literally revamping the whole contracts. We recently had a webinar, but just a quick let's say a couple of insights on what you can expect is we are introducing more products and services type. Now you will have different types of services, products that you can have, or packages or bundles that you can create and offer it as part of our contracts. And contracts also will have different types that you would be able to manage. Your recurring service contracts that you do for service delivery, which can have a lot of items included, right? So I can say gold plan includes what are the products and services, while basic monitoring includes what, when this contract should apply, how am I going to charge. Everything will be managed from here. You will also be able to manage any usage based contracts that you are providing on a month on month basis, let's say based on third party usage like Paxate, or even custom. You can go ahead and add these as a custom, let's say, entry as well, so that you would be able to manage all these usage based contracts. Any project work that you do will be one time contract, and any special discounts and relationships that you share with your client and you want it to be in place, that will be our time and material contract. So this should pretty much cover the breadth of any kind of contract and the kind of flexibility that you would need in making sure that how your clients are charged for the services that you deliver. But considering that we have now a robust contract engine, and we'll be able to track all the service delivery that's going on the PSA, you would be also able to see what's like your MRR, your ARR, like what is your YTD revenue till now, and what's like the profitability, all of that. And that is more to it, which I'll also show you. But one of the unique novel concepts that we are bringing in with PSA is the concept called delivery map. So once you build all this contract, you will have a nice map at a client level to say that, yeah, I could provide goal map, but let's say a goal plan, but a goal plan includes all of these items. But how are these items provided as service? For example, Microsoft 365 is provided for every requester, but however, Threat Locker is for every asset. So the way I count threat locker is, even a requester has multiple assets, then the number of threat locker should be more than the number of requesters. So a SuperOps will clearly get an understanding saying that for you to deliver the service, for you to charge that particular contract, how are these services delivered at what level? Maybe a backup is at a client level, let's say a VPN at a site level, etc. So we clearly know what's going on. And let's say if you are even a tech lead managing your policies in the RMM, which Srinidhi showed, this should really help you understand saying, are my policies in line with how services are delivered for this particular client? So considering we have all that, the trifecta here, right? So one, I know how services are delivered and at what level. I have all the contracts in place and how revenue is flowing in, and we have the ticketing and project management in the PSA. So with all of this running, SuperOps becomes the most accurate profitability calculator ever, where you would be able to clearly see an understanding of which client is bringing you more money with a better bottom line. Maybe for all you might know, the client who's actually giving you the most revenue is not maybe the least profitable as well, right? So which client to hire? So if you want to take a decision for growth, let's say you want to go ahead and double down on hiring more clients. What kind of clients do you need? Maybe you need them in this green spectrum, right? But however, which clients you want to avoid, or also like go ahead and negotiate the contract because they are bleeding you dry, that's going to be something on the red or the yellow region. So we'll be able to clearly give you at a client and a profit level, and also at a contract and a profit level, which plan is making really good value for your MSP compared to the amount of time that you're putting in, and compared to different plans that you offer. Especially if you're an MSP with standard plans, this kind of helps you keep track if your plans are aligned well. If you have a lot of plans because you kept creating plan based on customizing for every single client, this should keep a reality check in place saying that were you even, let's say, too generous in your discount that you offered. So this will give you a overall idea of how you can take decisions for growth, not only from a client standpoint. Growth is two-way, right? What I showed was the top line, that is your revenue, but also the bottom line. We being the productivity tool of choice, we are definitely confident that you will save a lot of hours with SuperOps compared to other PSAs. But however, how can you keep, let's say, a quantifiable track of it? You will clearly know what's like your effective labor revenue, how is it improved compared to previous, let's say, tenure that you have had, and how is your service being utilized, and also your technician utilization as well. We also will capture things like burden rate, cost for your technicians. So we'll clearly know what's the kind of profit a technician is bringing you on your team. And we also know that few MSPs with gold standard rates where they're having really good growth rate with great EBITDAs, they aim for a 3x profit compared to the cost of a technician. How do you track all of this to take decisions for your bottom line? This is going to be the report. So in short, what we will be able to do is with what Srinidhi showed you, you have a tool that is going to power up your productivity. On top of that, with the new contracts, since we are tracking all of this work, you would be able to start taking decisions for growth. And that's exactly what we wanted to deliver as an outcome for every MSP out there. And on top of that, couple of other exciting updates is Srinidhi did show runbooks, but I'm also showing you something called the unified runbooks, because we wanted to make sure that we really now hold up to the name of us being the productivity tool of choice. And one of the things that we wanted to double down and make it better, make it better, is the runbooks part of it. So now with runbooks, I would be able to create amazing workflows, and I can even and create, let's say, what kind of tasks and actions should be done. For example, should I run a script? Should I refer an IT documentation? Should I reply to a requester? Should I initiate an approval? Should I do some actions automatically? And when should I do that? So all of this can be built as a very nice set of actions. So let's say if you are getting a request for employee onboarding or employee offboarding, you don't need to do tab hopping across multiple screens to get things done across SuperOps itself. Everything is going to be culminated into one single runbook. That's why we are calling it unified, where you would be able to build all this. And you can even have, let's say, dependency flows on how I can create dependencies. And once you create the runbook, on what kind of workflow a technician should take, what action should they perform. End of the day, for the technician, it's going to be all one click away. For example, if I have to, the runbook is clearly telling me I have to send a reply, or let's say I have to initiate this task, or I have to run a script, IT documentation, push an approval, or bulk do these actions. Everything is going to be whatever you set up as a standard operating procedure. Now, what we have achieved for a technician is they don't move away from a ticket at all. Everything is one click away. And that's how we have powered up productivity for technicians, which is going to be launched very soon in Q1 in itself. So that is our runbooks. On top of that, of course, we are going to launch somebody on question also asked about calendar integrations. So from an integration standpoint, we'll be launching our Google Calendar integration, and we'll also be onboarding onto Zapier as a platform. So you would be able to go ahead and make sure that you can build your custom integrations. And with respect to AI, we have some exciting updates on top of what Srinidhi had shared with respect to AI. Now, we will also be sharing recommended solutions. Now, imagine, let's say you have an L2 technician, and most likely they would have solved a similar problem. And now this ticket, I'm an L1 technician and I'm getting into it. So rather than me wasting, let's say, 40 minutes and trying to troubleshoot it, and then it was not useful, then I escalated this to the L2 technician, and the L2 technician wastes another 30 minutes to solve this. That's like close to more than an hour that's already gone as a burden for your MSP. Now, based on your own previous resolutions, which is going to be super unique, this is not a cookie cutter AI. Based on your own tickets, your own previous resolutions that you have done as an MSP, now AI will start suggesting, saying that, hey, I have these recommended solutions for this problem, and from which kind of tickets am I suggesting this recommended solution? And if you want me to send this solution as a reply, you can send this. Or if you want to update the ticket with properties, you can just, all is going to be one click away. And this way, as long as people have resolved few tickets in your, let's say, for similar issues in your own account, your L1 technicians will have the lowest learning curve, because based on those resolutions, AI will automatically start suggesting them, saying, I think you should be doing this, right? And also, another thing we also realized is, yes, we can give you all of this, and the technicians love going ahead and checking on their own or what's out there on the web, etc. So again, we'll save a tab hop for you. You don't need to go ahead and search Google for it, etc. We have enabled, let's say, web results. So I can go ahead and say, fine, all these solutions are great, but I want to double down on web about this particular error that the customer is telling. I can go ahead and initiate a web search, and immediately we will scrape the web for you and give you a summary of what each and every link says. For example, somebody raised about a QuickBooks error. I don't need to go to Google search and go through multiple searches to understand which discussion in QuickBooks forum talks about this error. Our AI will find it for you and clearly give you the link as well, so I can go ahead and read from that link with a quick summary right here. So that's our recommended solutions, and let's say, and similar tickets is also something where you would be able to find out, are there any repeat issues for this particular ticket? We'll be showing you similar tickets on top of that. So these are all some cool new updates that is going to come out in Q1. And this is going to definitely help us with enabling the vision of being, let's say, the platform for growth and productivity, as you can see with our contracts and all of these enhancements with AI and runbooks coming in, and all that we have released in 2024. But moving on, just a quick look into what's there in 2025 is we want to ensure that MSPs are going to grow with us, but while they grow, the platform has to scale. So one of the major, let's say, couple of areas that we will be working on is, let's say, onboarding. What do we mean by that? Is how can we make switching into a PSA as easy as possible? And as you grow, how can you adopt all the parts of the PSA based on where you are in your own growth journey with the lowest learning curve? So that is something that we will work on so that there is less learning curve, because time is money for MSPs. And also, as you grow, we also know that you're going to provide diverse services using diverse tech stack, cybersec, everything going to come in play. How you can make sure that SuperOps is not, let's say, a standalone tool, even though we are a platform that has a unified tool with from RMM, IT Doc, PSA, contracts, all of it. But we definitely know that we have to play well with the ecosystem, and we should be able to play well with any of the ecosystem you choose to grow your MSP with. So how can you create automatic workflows and drive up efficiencies across ecosystems with SuperOps is something that we'll be focusing on. And on top of that, we'll also be doubling down on, for larger teams, how you can manage work. For example, let's say, how do you manage projects, tasks, tickets? And of course, we'll have a lot of AI-driven insights based on skills, which technician is the best person to go ahead and let's say assign a particular ticket to, etc., so that you don't even by mistake send your L3 technician on site for the basic issue that you shouldn't have, right? So all of that is something that we will be doubling down on. With all this data, we'll also be powering with a lot of AI-driven insights, where we will understand what part of growth journey you are in, and based on the business outcomes that you want to deliver, we will be showing you proactive alerts and insights on what decisions you could take to get there as a business and as your goal. So that's like overall wrap up of where we are headed with the product, the PSA, and the RMM. And if there are any questions, then we'll be happy to take it.
Okay, I think there are a few questions on webhooks and Zapier, and a few around contract signing, and how we want to sort of think about that.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks, Srinidhi. So, a couple of things with Zapier. Yes, you are right in spotting that very well. Of course, we have built our webhooks infrastructure. That's why we are part of Zapier. So, we are taking it in phases. First, we will be exposing our webhooks to Zapier. So, you would be able to use Zapier as a platform for both, let's say, webhooks and API calls. All of that will be published, and will be monitoring our performance for maybe, let's say, the initial 1 quarter or so with our webhooks framework that we have written. Once we are good with it, of course, we have plans to launch it as a standalone webhooks that you can register by creating it from your accounts itself, so that you can build your own custom integrations even without Zapier. So that's the plan, but we have already the platform in place, and that's exactly where we are headed. Meanwhile, Zapier is something that's going to be very, very soon. And with respect to, let's say, a contract signing, etc., so that's also something that we are taking it in phases. So one of the things that we have optimized for is, let's say you had a proposal and you had a to and fro with your customer, you signed your MSA, and then you want to start service delivery by converting that into a contract. That's the journey from on where we have doubled down on and made sure that we are rock solid and robust. And having said that, considering we have now the service delivery and the growth platform in place, this is something that we are definitely exploring. So starting Q1, we are going to start revamping our quoting module, which will start trickling into, let's say, creating quotes and converting into a contract, converting into a ticket, converting into a project, etc. And then moving down the line, we will grow that into, let's say, a CRM capability where you have the signing, proposal, and all of that. So these are all the phases that we are thinking. So in short, in the near term, if you have an MSA, converting that into a service delivery and then providing service delivery and taking decisions for growth is going to be super easy. And by the end of Q1, etc., we are also aiming to have great quoting enhancements, and we will keep doubling down on that engine. So that's how we will be going about it.
Perfect. Hans, specific to your question on Dutch exact financial administration, right now we don't have an integration, but I can help you with a few solutions. I'll put a few on the answer chat here. But okay, do you want to give it a go in terms of accounting? What we want to do?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Hans, we have to definitely double down on what, let's say, the needs are in terms of other accounting integrations. So, our focus for the last year was, of course, doubling down on ensuring that we are good with QuickBooks Zero on the major platforms. But however, now we understand that as we are expanding our presence across the globe, we have multiple requests for different specific accounting tools. And one of the ways we are going to enable immediately is using robust APIs. And also, you'd now be able to start creating your own integrations with Zapier in place, right? So, because you will have webhooks for like whenever an invoice is created, whenever let's say an invoice is paid, or you want to push the invoice when it's created from SuperOps to your accounting solution, and when it's paid in your accounting solution, you want to mark it as paid in SuperOps. So you'll be able to start building all these workflows with Zapier in itself, with our APIs and the triggers that we are going to publish. So that will be our immediate next steps. And moving down the line, of course, we are keeping a watch on what other native integrations that we have to build. But in the near term, Zapier and APIs would be the best possible solution, Hans.
Okay, perfect. So, team, we have about 3 minutes to go. So, I wanted to wrap this up by saying that firstly, we are very excited to announce that we have 25% off on the annual plan for any new signups if you were to choose SuperOps. And if that's the case, feel free to contact us. You have a poll as well, and you can let us know your comments there. But it's been an absolute pleasure to talking to all of you, to walk you through what we have done in 2024 and to see all these questions come through. Michael, in terms of the IT documentation, Ani will respond to you very shortly, but we want these questions coming, as and when. So feel free to reach us at support@superops.com, and we'll ensure that your questions are answered. You also have docs on what the full feature list looks like for this year, and what sort of is coming up next year as well. So feel free to reach us in case you need some of these features in beta. If it's available, we'll get that enabled and take things forward. But it's been an absolute pleasure, team, and we hope to do one more very soon on how 2025 looked like for us. Until then, see you.